Just pad on for me, please, Brett. Just pad on, please, mate. It's got to be for one little part. Yes, I'll be your wildflower.
Yeah. Is the second verse sounding right?
I think the second verse is good when the drums come in. I think the very front of it perhaps could be. You know when you play the little theme that was done on the guitar, the Evo guitar before. I know you do the whole chorus actually, if you wouldn't mind.
Peter, you got any double A's?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about A New Morning. Can you tell me the story of this album? Why was there such a long gap between Head Music and this album?
Why was there a long gap?
Fiddled.
Because we lack of focus. Always be suspicious of bands that take a long time to make records, because it doesn't mean that they're making a better record. It just means that they're messing around and kind of like, you know, they've got too much time and too big a budget on their hands. And that's exactly what happened with A New Morning. We kind of like, you know, we had too much time to overthink it, I think. And I was listening when we were remastering some of the tracks, some of the demos, the reissues. I was listening to some of them, and you know, some of the early demos that were the very first demo session we did. They're really beautiful, and they're kind of how they should have sounded. And I kind of regret that the album doesn't sound like that. There's a kind of a lightness and a kind of, I don't know, spontaneity to them, which we didn't quite capture when we finally re-recorded the album, because we were just kind of bored of the songs. I think by that point we'd already done it once with Tony Hoffa.
We've been around the houses with them.
Yeah,
seriously around the houses.
You recorded it originally with Tony Hoffa, I believe.
Yeah.
Where did he come from? How did you choose?
Tony had done some stuff with Beck, and you know, it was part of this whole process of wanting to reinvent Suede, wanting to take it somewhere else, wanting to sort of use people that you wouldn't traditionally kind of associate with Suede, and I really liked the album Midnight Vultures, and Tony had worked on that, and Tony was a fan of the band, and we just thought, well, let's give it a shot, you know, let's see where it goes, sort of thing. And we did a version of the album.
Was it the same songs? Or?
Pretty much the same songs at Rockfield in Wales.
Yeah.
And you know, we spent a couple of weeks there. And
we spent a long time there. We did a couple of weeks in Rockfield. That's right, in February, and that was the last recording session we did with Neil. And shortly after that, I think you left.
Yeah.
And then we sort of got Alex in pretty much the next day, I think. And because we've been sort of writing with him, and we toured with him on, you know, Dogma Star? No, Head Music. And so he was an obvious choice to kind of get in and help us scrape the album together, sort of thing. But we decided that we were going to do a proper session with Tony, and we went back to Parkgate, which we'd been in May 2000. We'd done the demo session there, which was great, so we thought, let's go to Parkgate again. And we spent like 2 or 3 months there in summer 2001, a long time. Just working on the tracks, trying to use Tony's kind of electronic and West Coast influence to make them sound different and more exciting and modern. And I don't know why it fell so short of the mark.
I was going to say, why didn't you like the results? I mean, were you all in agreement that you didn't like the results, or?
Eventually, yeah. It's you have to kind of take a step back sometimes if you're involved, especially if it's a long album process. You can kind of get it's so close to you all the time that you can't see it properly. And then afterwards, after we finished the session, we thought, is there anything salvageable here? And we eventually agreed, no, there isn't. We have to start it afresh, write some new songs towards Christmas 2001, and start in 2002 with Stephen Street.
And what about John Leckie's involvement? Because he's credited with producing Positivity.
Yeah, we did a session with John where and he produced pretty much we produced Positivity, didn't it?
Yeah. We did the strings there with John Leckie and Rack.
Yeah.
That was the day we started recording. That the day of the World Trade Center attack.
We did, yeah. September 11th. Yeah. I remember sitting in the control room in the lounge with Chrissy Hind, and all these and the towers kind of crumbling, and her saying, "What about the animals?"
Yeah.
So Neil, you were only involved in the very first version of the album, then?
Yeah, I'd left before we did a couple of sets of demos, and I'd left before the band had gone into the studio with Tony Hoffa. I'd left just after the first couple of weeks that we had with Tony Hoffa.
We'd just written Positivity. I mean, we should have known really, because we wrote Positivity and then Neil left, and then we started recording it and the World Trade Center thing happened. We should have realised it was cursed.
It's cursed. I think with Tony, is you asked why it didn't go right. Again, we were sort of overthinking it too much. We'd basically written a load of songs that were basically kind of folk songs. Things like Oceans and Lonely Girls and Cheap and stuff like that. And then we were sort of trying to sort of shoehorn this sort of like a sort of beats electronica thing onto it, and it was just a sort of a mismatch of styles that didn't really go together, and it just didn't work.
Well, was it odd then to keep recording the same songs, because by the time you recorded the last version, so to speak, you were still recording Neil's songs?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't just those songs. We'd sort of written some as well. We'd written things like Obsessions and I remember what else, Morning,
Astro Girl, Street
Astro
Life.
Girl, Street
I
Life.
was going to ask, did Alex arrive with the demos for Street Life and Astro Girls and Astro Girl?
He kind of, I think he had been, he's because we wanted to write with him as soon as he joined the band, which is like March 2000.